Hello and welcome everyone. This is Darius Barazonde. You are tuning in to the U-Wealth Revolution, and I am so excited that you're here. It's been an incredible week, and it's been an incredible time at U-Wealth. We started this 4 years ago with the idea that we could join people all over the world with intentionality, and that inside of everybody is this amazing power, is this amazing thing that I call U-Wealth. It's this truth. It's this essential part of you that knows what you're here to do. It's this part of you that can create anything in the world, can make anything a possibility, that knows there are no limits, that know there are no boundaries, that infinite part of you that can connect to all things. And many people are here today as I'm reading the prayer requests from our 10-minute intention circle, and I'm reading what's going on, and a lot of people are dealing with some challenges, be it illness, be it challenges with money, challenges with life direction, trying to really understand where they're going to go next and what they're going to do. And one of the things I said early on is that sometimes the real path to having an amazing life, a miraculous life, is to be able to get the answers when you need them and make those decisions when you're at a crossroads. And sometimes those answers come from other sources. And we all have this ability to connect. We all have this ability to pull down higher wisdom and knowledge. And what I wanted to do today was bring back an incredible guest, Kelly Hampton, who channels some incredible energy, healing energy, transmission energy, but also messages from many different ascended masters. And let each of you, this is so exciting because each of you are going to get the chance to actually ask her a question, or many of you, and you're going to be able to ask many of these ascended masters a questions as she opens the doorway. And the question is, what is it that these angels have for you? What message, what incredible wisdom, what insights, what possibilities do they have for you here today? And is there a burning question? So this is my question to all of you. Is there a burning question that you would love to know so you can move your life forward? And send that to us at uwealthrevolution.com/now, N-O-W. uwealthrevolution.com/now, N-O-W. I want to see it. I see we've got a question coming in from Diane, Leah Clark, Karen, and many others. Good. So what we're going to do, we're going to be moving into that. And those that want to actually get on the phone with Kelly and really experience this channel and the information that could really change your life, well, we've got *2. You can hit that if you're on your phone, and we've already got a bunch of people with their hands raised. And we're going to be doing some healing work and some transmission work as well. Kelly said, please, we really want to be sure that we get some of that healing done as well. So it's going to be very powerful. I'm going to introduce Kelly really quick, and then we're going to jump right into it. This is going to be a call with a ton of energy, very different than what you've probably felt before. Our guest, Kelly Hampton, is rapidly becoming one of the top international spiritual teachers and healers. She's a psychic medium. She's angelic. She's an ascended master. She's an interdimensional and elemental channel. She's also a gifted energy healer and a spiritual author. She's also a second-wave Pleiadian who couldn't wait to get here to do her work. And she had an interesting experience at age 11 where she actually saw the face of Christ, and then she connected to her mother at 11 she did this, and then she connected to her mother on the other side at age 20. She had an awakening in 2003, and she downloaded the first divinely shared teaching called Into the White Light. She's been sharing the wisdom that she's garnered from the other side and from these channels for over 20 years. She's helped individuals just like me and you to really understand how to heal the body, the mind, how to develop intuition, how to connect to angels, and also what is, this whole truth about planetary and personal ascension. She also speaks on numerous different shows, sharing incredible wisdom and insights to help people everywhere. She has wonderful facilitating workshops, and she also has something called Star Healing Intergalactic Energy. This is a new groundbreaking modality that was completely revealed to her by Archangel Michael in January of 2010. She is going to be sharing a lot today, so get ready. Just plug in. You don't need notes. You need to listen and feel the vibration. She also has a number of new books out, including one called The Book of Animals, which is due to release this year, and we are going to be really enjoying this session, so get ready. It's going to be incredible through her intensive workshops, online programs, MP3s, global summit appearances like here on the UL Revolution, lectures, and alchemy retreats, etc. She elevates the human and planetary consciousness to another level. Kelly, welcome back to the UL Revolution. I'm so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be back.
Oh, wonderful. Well, let's talk about a little just your story. I know there's a lot of people that may be new here, and we're going to move into some definite messages that many people are waiting for. But tell me about how you first connected to your gifts with the angelic realm.
Well, if you were kind enough to read through some of those things, there's highlights in all of our lives, right? It was a process of unfolding for me. It might be interesting to some folks to know that I didn't really see Archangel Michael until about a year ago. You might think from all of that I saw him way long ago, but I didn't. Actually, the first Ascended Masters, as you mentioned, I remembering in hindsight seeing Christ's face in a glass of water. And then I went off to brownie class or something, not really knowing what to do with all of that. But moving a little bit forward to answer your question more directly, so I wasn't consciously calling upon, I had a prayerful sort of upbringing, but I wasn't consciously calling on guides through my early years at all. But as I kept having some experiences here, what I know now later, it has to do with the person's soul theme. And what Archangel Michael has revealed kind of here lately is that most soul themes, as he calls it, or your soul purpose, gets ignited around the ages of 30, 31, 32. Those are the words he uses, ignited. So that's about when he started flooding me with things. Up until then, I certainly wasn't doing this type of work as a hobby or a career for that matter. So that would fall in alignment with what his teaching has been here globally for people. And so my soul theme is healer, teacher. So there were some, he just kept pouring forth the introduction of that first book, Into the White Light. He awakened me in the middle of the night, for those of you that haven't heard this story before. And that's the title of the book. It was a big, bright light. I didn't see him then. I didn't see, and he doesn't always appear the same to everyone, as many of your listeners may already know, but
right.
It wasn't that. It was a feeling. By then I had experienced the humbleness and the vibration of Christ through some other work I was doing. I mean, once I connected with my mother on the other side, then I just kept doing a little seeking. I mean, I knew love was unlimitless then and never changed form. So there were some other experiences where Christ came through very early on and shared some messages with me. But Michael appeared in sort of booming fashion in the middle of the night. Really, pretty much this light, this feeling, and a hearing and a knowing. Sometimes people ask me, "Well, how do you know it was him?" Or because he told me so. And I don't mean to be flippant about it, but I had some progressing. I guess the larger question. I can't be simple with an answer. Anyway. I guess the larger question is, how do you know it's truth? And now, to some degree, I don't care what the source is. There's multiple levels of truth source, I suppose I would say. But at first, I didn't believe it. I guess that would be a statement I made when he said we're going to write a book together. But he kept coming back, and he came back 3 nights, and now I've come to learn 3 is a sacred number. Yet at the time, I had no understanding of that. So. By the 3rd time, I said, okay, I'll try, and that's exactly how I kind of started out. I sat down at my computer, and as I share with some people over the years here, it was just like the light switch came on, and out poured the document. When the light was when the pouring was done, the light went off. So only thing you really see changed in that book was some grammar, you know. So, but anyway, it was, you know, what I wanted to link here in everybody's mind is that if you're on your own, you know, awakening, let's just call it for now, opening your channels, you won't get any guidance that falls outside of love. If you're hearing a voice, you know, that is, you know, mean, nasty, not filled with love and compassion, it's not of the light. Kind of an obvious thing, I guess. But anyway, if that's useful and it helps people understand a little bit. I didn't call on him. I never call on him and ask him, Michael, I'd like new healing systems for the planet. Michael, can I have another book? Michael. No, he just, you know, in the soul sense, someone would say, well, as a Palladian, I came here from another galaxy to be a starseed and help anchor some ascension energies onto the planet, but so are many, many other people. So when the angelic realm, which is fifth dimensional in nature, it can be, that's the lowest dimension where the archangels reside. When they meet with Palladian fifth dimensional consciousness, that's sort of the linking in there. And when we talk about Christ, for those of you that might be thinking it's more of a religious-based thing, it's Christ consciousness, it's total love, unconditional, you could call it cosmic Christ energy. These are the energies that are entering in our planet now. So they're all kind of, in retrospection, you know, little things would come, little things would come. They would teach me more, teach me more, teach me more. When I was a young girl, I used to see, at nighttime, I used to see or be visited by something that I would just call the scary thing. And it wasn't really, it was an energy. I couldn't describe, I can still kind of tell you it was sort of a vague, scary energy. That I still remember that many years later. So that, what I know later now, that was my Palladian family checking on me, but as a young child it was scary, you know.
Wow. Wow. Kelly, quick question. When you get downloads for others and you pull in those messages and wisdom, what are some of the things as you've done readings with people and you've worked with people one-on-one, much like we're going to be doing here in a moment, what are some of the things that come forward for people? What kind of breakthroughs and revelations come forward from Archangel Michael and some of the other messengers and angels for people just like those in the audience today?
Well, thanks for asking that. There is a certain way I go about it, and I go about it as I was taught by Michael. Sometimes people ask me, well, do you channel Uriel, and do you channel Raphael? Came before Michael, actually, but he wasn't in my life very long, and he said, I'm leaving. I'm letting Michael come forth. Sometimes he'll shift and say, I feel or we feel. He's simply invoking. Normally it's all the archangels. Other times if the soul is ready, he might be invoking higher counsel. So all types of things can be revealed, specific questions. If you don't ask, you're not told. But the thing that one of the things I really love about being on my soul purpose, and that's true for everyone, Michael promises fulfillment, is an empowering sense. In other words, it's not Michael's purpose. He's a guide. It's not my purpose either to have people come again and again and again and again and not get tools, you know, to move on, to be well, to, you know, learn them. So a lot of times Michael will give people empowerment kind of homework lessons, joy lessons. You know, some people need lessons in that. So he'll construct them. There really isn't anything that can't be ascertained. It is quite useful if folks are thinking about, like, well, I'd like to, I don't know what to ask. Knowing a soul theme or your soul purpose or having it validated, maybe you already know it. It's like the floor of the house. It's good and useful to walk upon the floor. But you can ask about other people because the soul theme, we all have them. Michael calls the soul theme, when he sees it in the glorious document, he calls the earth to heaven soul chart. It glows. It's gold and white. It might have jewels sometimes. He says, imagine the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. That's what the human soul chart looks like. And the first page of the book has the soul theme in it.
And each person's, let's talk about this idea, because I think this is going to be very popular for people. It's like, what's my soul theme? What does this mean? Why am I attracting sickness or living with sickness? Why am I maybe not attracting a lot of abundance in my life, or that loved one, or that relationship? Is there a soul theme that we have that may in some way keep us in a certain level of reality, maybe one that we don't want? Or is there a soul theme that we, like, once we realize what it is, we can rapidly move beyond some of that suffering and into a much more, just a much more fulfilling life?
Well, it is in many cases the human condition until that of what, all the things you suggested there, illness in the body, not lack of abundance and things like this. Michael doesn't rank soul themes, but there is not a soul theme that is a bad one. Okay? It's purpose, right? So in explaining, but fulfillment comes largely from when people say, I feel stuck, then that indicates to me that they have no clue, and I mean that kindly, what their soul purpose is. And purpose gives fulfillment. Fulfillment brings joy. Joy brings contentment. Contentment brings love. It's like cycles of all these high vibrations. But I would like to do just a little more teaching right here, and maybe your audience already knows this. But as I've come to know and learn it from the High Council and so on, no one charts in their soul chart from heaven to earth pain and suffering. Okay. A lot of times, Michael has to unteach what religion might have put in place. I mean, it's just reality. Okay, so what happens is the heart and your loving ceremony that you open up, everyone with. Love is the vibration. So what can happen, we're energy beings, and so when the heart collapses like a flower a little from whatever experience, and those energies aren't processed through the body, they can land in there. This is old teaching, where every illness in the body is first created in the mind, and carry it forward to abundance. Michael says the same thing. No one writes in a soul chart, I came here to experience lack, and he's kind of smiles about it to some way. So that's a misperception or conception, if that's in your mind right now. What can happen, again, it goes back to the heart and processing not only the energy body, but if we're not even talking about energy, healing to remove toxins that may have provided. He's in full acknowledgement, as he teaches in the first book. There were, because this is changing, but there were some soul charts where someone wrote a lot of difficult lessons in them. Okay. And if in the learning or the not learning of the difficult lessons, that's where sort of lack can be put in there. But there's it's not a static state. By that I mean there are always ways to move from lack to creation. And you stated it in a different way at the beginning there. Yeah. So everyone has infinite potential. In his gracious way, only an angel can speak, right? Expect miracles. Expect an abundant life. Expect a joy-filled life. These things were granted to you the day you were born. So future generations, like the crystalline children, they're not going to have a soul chart. Michael said about 2 years ago when Ascension was in that way was sort of first kind of hitting, he'd say, imagine the High Council taking erasers out of these soul charts. You don't need the lessons because the density is going to be gone. Kind of cute, huh? Wow. So visualization. So it doesn't mean that those of us that are here, and are not under 30, and maybe if you put some more difficult lessons in there, here's something I'd like to teach, if I may, real quickly. It's called an exalted form of a prayer, and Michael says, if there's a situation that's presented to you, because the angel Michael is very clear about this, he'll say many times, prayer alone is not enough. Okay. Think on that one if you need to, or open your hearts and minds, but it came from him. So that's because certain things were written into a soul chart that you were meant, who wrote the soul chart? You did. Parts of your soul did. No one else writes it for a human being. So if there are things that are lacking, it's a collection of energy in your home. It's either and or a collection of energies like toxins that are laying on your energy body from past life experiences, sometimes even past lives. It's not nurturing and sort of opening the heart again with all the frequencies that are important to wellness and abundance, joy, contentedness, fulfillment, love, peace, forgiveness, gratitude. I think I'm missing one. But anyway, so here's the teaching I'd like to share.
Okay. And
what Michael says is, so you all have nothing to lose, if you want to use this exalted form of a prayer. It's called ask for divine intervention. And if a person asks for divine intervention in any situation, you would tag those words in front of the condition that you would like to see some change. So what happens for your knowingness, if you haven't discovered this already, is that request goes to a high council, and there's more. Michael's not on the council. There are multiple high councils, by the way, Council 9, Council 12, Council 24, 36. But let's just say beings of love and light near the center of infinite mind, God, Creator, or whatever you'd like to call that source. So in the moment that it's stated, he said, it goes to the council, and in their loving wisdom and goodness, they say, okay, we have the request. We're going to change the soul chart because there may be some lessons in there and grant the person's request. Or in our loving and goodness, we're going to leave it as it is. So as the angel says, you have nothing to lose to ask. It's what he calls an exalted form of a prayer. A little more about this so your minds are totally clear on what I heard about how to use this. You only need to ask the request once. Even in this time when we move to invoking Michael to answer some of your questions, if he says, well, left unchanged, I don't think you'll be moving for a year. That's what he's referring to. What unchanged? The soul chart. Okay. Plus, there's free will and positive thinking and other things, but generally, that's what he's talking about. Left unchanged, when he goes to access your soul chart, this is what I feel is likely to be. Okay. So you only need to make one request per what it is you're asking for. It's not going on and on, over and over and over and over. Okay. Couple other things, just because Michael tends to be funny, he says, please don't bother the council with asking for a good parking spot. Okay. I asked for divine intervention so I can find the best parking spot. No, that would be kind of he said that energy won't even get out of your first hemisphere. So,
we have sometimes people saying, well, I want to win the lottery. Help me win the lottery, or help me have sort of like this great streak of, some sort of windfall. Is that similar to a parking spot type of request?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. We could ask him and see if he'll weigh in on it. But, the energy around numbers is constantly shifting. And if you think about it conceptually, you got abundance right at the table. I mean, you may not see the food there in front of you.
Yes.
But the food's there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there for us. Well, let's do this. I'm very excited. Anything else you want to cover, Kelly, or any group type of activation that we need to do maybe to get started before we take some individual callers? I'll let you decide, or let Archangel Michael decide, or any other guy that wants to chime in.
Okay. Thank you. Michael, what about this? Jesus, Holy Master, and Mary. Is there something to bring us together, or should we just go in here? Okay, I like the idea of setting the stage and not just dropping the silverware on the table, he's saying. So it'll be a very quick setting if we have your cooperation, but no, the setting would be mostly my teaching right now, or my sharing with your minds and hearts, and know that what we collectively prepare to share and offer to each of your hearts and minds in what we might call this personal consultation kind of way. Remember these frequencies, no matter what is stated, you have free will. You're always supported by an unseen legion of angels. Many of you see us. If you don't, it's fine and dandy, he's saying. We're present no matter what. So the legion goes into infinity. So those of you that may be lacking love, those of you that may feel despondent, know that the love that you have in an unseen way is infinite in its power, infinite in its glory, infinite in its magnitude. Okay, it's done. I mean, it's done. Okay. So I'd be ready when you are.
Okay, what we're going to do, we have some callers coming in. We're going to do one question because we want to serve as many people as possible. This is such an important day and such an important opportunity for people. We have Gloria. Last name starts with a T. She's at 847 area code. 1 second. Wow, a lot of people with their hands raised. This is a jammed house today. All right, Gloria, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Do you have a question for Kelly and for Archangel Michael?
I do. So, and I'm going to make this quick because I know there's a ton of people. So, I am a singer-songwriter, and I'm using energy and sound medicine my goal is to uplift the planet with my songs and things like that. So I've been moving through worthiness and confidence and comparing me to, like TV shows like The Voice and all that, and releasing fears and stuff. So I guess my question is, what's my next step? And or are there any messages or any particular masters to work with? Either any one of those answers. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. I appreciate your time. And so, Michael, what are her next steps? Okay, what I'm starting to hear you saying, well, take another one and another one and another one. In other words, how do you combat fear? One of the ways you combat fear, you talked about a little bit of lack of confidence. One of the ways is to try to remove yourself from the place of perspective of comparison. It's called the frequency of judgment. And it is thankfully something that's being anchored in your world by many of the new little babies' eyes that you might see staring up at their mobiles, he's saying. But you can work toward it too. So there's sometimes usefulness in comparing. Let's say it's a business, right? But in this particular sense, the next steps are, I would say, I'd actually ask you to be thinking about limiting your exposure to comparison. And if anything, I would probably ask you to go in front of a mirror and do all your work in front of a mirror, at least for a while anyway. So we're talking about your singing and entertaining. And that's your reflection. In other words, that's the place to practice. That's the place to prepare. That's the place to build your confidence. Again, limiting judgment, those are the things that are going to move you out of a place of fear. I do feel as though, so the next step, one of the next steps is moving forward, doing more of what you do. That's a practical, pragmatic type of answer, I suppose. The more generally the human being does of something, the more they generally get a sense of accomplishment and mastery. I do feel as though you're going to kind of burst through this little hesitation or fear energy you're talking about in a very quick fashion. Why would I tell you otherwise? And I'm not here to mislead you, he's saying. If I felt and saw that it would take more work, I would go to more work for you right now, what other steps that I take. But it's like I want you to visualize this as a thin bubble. And it's going to be easy to puncture the bubble, he's saying, by taking action. Remove yourself from comparison, practice, do the mirror thing. He says, I think this may be the most terrifying yet the most rewarding at the same time, and I think it'll get you to your goal the quickest.
Wow.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. Love you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Love you.
Wow, that just cut, really right through some of the things. It wasn't her energy. It wasn't her thing that it's just really not taking on that vibration of comparison. I love that. Okay, we're going to go to the next caller, and you'll have to pardon me as I get excited, as we get really straight to the energy of what will move people fast enough. Get pretty excited. Okay, we've got another caller here. It looks like Marcia. Last name starts with a D. It's 530 area code. All right, let's see. Marcia, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Marcia. What question do you have for Kelly and Archangel Michael?
Oh, I've just been so irritated the last couple of days. I know we're in the Grand Cross and all of that, but I feel like I'm being pushed and pulled to finally step into my divine destiny. and I have so many interests that I can't seem to narrow it down to what it is I'm really here to, how I can serve in the highest way. Can you help me?
Beautiful question.
Yeah, thank you. It is an important energy time. When I listened briefly about the Grand Cross, I actually heard it began sooner than most people are maybe reading or thinking, but I guess that's here nor there, except that there can be certainly energy components to it, and you kind of touched upon it with your question. I'd like to go ahead and ask him what your soul theme is, if I may, and then you can determine, because we're trying to serve a lot of folks, you can determine from your soul theme, the ways, once he presents it to you, your soul theme doesn't need to be your career for everyone's listening. It can be, let's call it your hobby, but you need to spend a lot of earth time on it. That's his recommendation. So that's what you're kind of asking, what's my divine purpose? So, Michael, we're asking you, please, what is her soul purpose or theme? It means the same. Those words are interchangeable. What is it in this incarnation, please? Okay, he's saying, what I heard right there was healer, teacher, helper. So for your knowingness, you have what I would call a blended theme. If your ears have not heard this before, they come in different constructs. So a blended theme simply means 3 or more energy strands coming together to form, your purpose, your fulfillment. What did you put in the title page of your mastery, he's saying? Master thesis, so sorry. So healer, teacher, helper, they're 3 distinct ones, although because they're blended, you might find that they're intertwining, so that you're doing one thing that embodies them all, or you're doing more than one thing that embodies them all. In other words, when I share the soul theme with you or anyone that may be calling me to do so, it's not a conscious decision. Oh, my eyes are open. Today I'm going to be helper, he's saying. It's a more synchronistic sort of, again, because you have a blended theme. But you'd be well advised to be walking on the floor as she speaks for us collectively. Healer, teacher, helper. Sometimes if your curious mind wants to know, sometimes the blends are equal. Let's say 33 and a third, 33 and a third, 33 and a third if you're following us. But yours aren't. Healer, if your mind is curious, healer, teacher are the 2 widest bands of energy. So that means to us that you'd be well advised to be spending most of your time doing work that involves healing and teaching. Yes, it's inferred sometimes you're helping, but helping can be a single theme on its own and doesn't involve those others. So that's the lesser of the 3 that are presented. So if you're not already doing it this way, that's how I feel you'll do it in the future, with helper being a little less. So my kind of global answer to you in this framework that we've provided, means the way we're going about this, is what are your next steps from your soul theme? If you need to co-create the paths, what walls am I creating on the house from the floor that was laid? What brings me joy? That's the next question to ask yourself. That's a global answer too, by the way. What do I think might bring me joy, or what does bring me joy? You may have to make some small adjustments. Let's say energy healer doesn't really like working with crystals, then you'd make an adjustment, you see? So it's got to bring a person joy significantly to fulfill the promise of the purpose, he's saying.
Wow.
So are you already doing healing, teaching, or?
That's who I am at the core level. No, I'm not actually doing it. I have done healing work in the last years, but honestly, I can't find what I'm passionate and most joyful about. I keep thinking I want to work with the children, and then, and then I think I want to do healing work, and then I have a website that I want to bring information to the planet, New Paradigm Healing, and I hear that I'm going to bring through a new paradigm technology, and I'm just in the void. I can't, I've tried the joy passion thing a million times, and I can't get clear about it.
Well, he says, I hope you're a little bit clearer than before we started this, my friend, because healer, teacher, helper. So in other words, you don't have to pick one thing. There might be a misconception in your heart and mind, or those listening, that you have to pick one thing. So if you need help discovering what joy is, then we do need to go back to sort of square one. It's probably too much to do in our time here together. But I say to you, I feel as though every human being knows what brings them joy, or what they think might. Look at images of joy. So if that's where you need to go backing up toward to see what joy feels like, then look at things of joy. Listen to things of joy. Chirping birds might be joy-filled to you. Okay? Read, listen, use all your senses. Joy is joy. So if you need to back upward to find the joy, the floor is in front of you. That's the floor, okay? Teaching is an aspect that does not need to send shock waves up your body as a teacher standing in front of a room. There's multiple ways to teach, of course, through the heart, through the words, through the music, so on and so forth. I think what is happening, as I see it quickly here in our time, is that the fear, that the level of fear is present right now is not large, but it's just enough, as I see it, to place you where you are right now. And what is the fear? We don't need to identify it here in front of everybody saying. But it's not uncommon when souls are, let's say, ready to shift into doing new things. It takes courage. I says, let me touch you with my sword right now. I'll give it to you right now. If I can do it again lovingly, I'll do it again later tonight, and I'll do it again tomorrow. I think once is enough, twice shy, he's saying. So I don't want to be demonstrative and oversteering you. I hope I'm not communicating that way to you. But courage, it's not fear so much, it's courage. So find it, be it. Know that there's courage and purpose in every breath you take.
Thank you.
Wow, I love that. You know, sometimes this is so true. It's like we're looking for something besides courage. We're looking for some block or some challenge or some energy that's stuck or something we're missing, rather than bringing forward the courage that we are, the light that we are, the truth that we are, the truth that what we believe and what we feel in our heart, what we know is something that matters to us, is real. And that courage comes from knowing it's real and going forward with it and saying, yes, I will take command of this and make it my reality. It is my birthright. So that is just a huge, I can feel the energy of that. I love that. And for so many people, this is a huge, groundbreaking thing to really move into. Okay, we've got another caller. We've got Denise. She's calling in at a 480 area code. Denise, last name R. Are you there? Hold on. Oh, my gosh. We may be having some troubles here. It looks like my computer may have just locked up. There was a big jolt of energy that just came through there. So hold on. I'm trying to get back to Denise, and let's see what's going on. Hold tight. We are having some interesting issues here. Okay, I'm going to try again with Denise, and if not, I will get back to her. Okay, we've got Carol, it looks like, 727 area code. Carol, are you there? Nope, I'm having some troubles. Kelly, I just want to make sure, are you still on?
Uh-huh, yep.
Okay, so while we fix this, any general messages that are coming forward for the whole group? We had so many people raise their hands, it looks like things just kind of overloaded our system.
Okay. Michael, Jesus, Mary, all the holy ones, is there something you can share with us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He wants to go over the Golden Dome. Okay. Okay, so I would like to do this. Yes, go ahead, instructor. I'll just do the instruction from how I know. Which way would you like? He just, take it over. I'm sitting back. So, all right, so this is a useful thing. Gold is the highest healing element on our planet. If this hasn't come yet to your awareness, followed by silver. Gold energy represents, again, Christ or cosmic Christ, total unconditional love. And so the Golden Dome has power by nature of it being gold. And it's useful to anyone, really. It came about primarily, initially, kind of, some empaths were asking, you know, I'm picking up, as people are becoming more open, and if you're not more open, don't worry about it. We could talk about that maybe, too, in a minute. But even if you're not becoming more open, it's a tool that is only going to enhance things because it's not a shield. Michael certainly has a shield, but it's not a shield. It's a golden dome of enlightenment. is what he calls the whole name of the thing. And so how do you do it? How do you draw it? It's very simple. When and how would you draw it? Anytime you wanted to, really. It's most appropriate when used in going into man-made spaces, largely because man-made spaces of like a public nature. You wouldn't necessarily use the Golden Dome if you're out on Mother Nature on a hike, let's say.
Okay.
But as he describes it, if you're going into a restaurant, or you're going in, you go to work every day and you're in a corporate setting or something, even before entering your own particular home. But more again, another example might be if you're going to the ball game, because there are, and particularly if you're the parent of the children that have entered and the young adults, or you yourself are 30 and under, and you know energies or sensitive to energies. Okay. This technique will help sort of soften that around you. So it feels like, let me describe the technique first, and then we'll do a little more teaching, and then that'll be complete. So either finger, your index finger, he asks you to stand in front of what it might be you're entering, and point the finger down at the ground, down to Mother Earth, and then simply draw up in your mind. It's an energetic draw. You draw it up in front of you, over your head, as if you're going to walk through it, because you are. So project with your finger, you know, up over yourself to the best of your ability, your standing body, and then bring your line down, bring the golden, you're making a golden energetic dome. Bring the line with your finger down to the other side and walk through. So you walk through before you're walking and entering a space, most normally, as I hear it, where there's a lot of other energies going on. And so Michael said, it's not a shield. Actually, when you walk through the Golden Dome, if you can imagine, some of you will feel it. There'll be more than imagining. And I know clients have already told me they've used it, and they tell me what happens. But you walk through it, and just imagine your heart is pouring out this huge light. That's what it does when you walk through that. And so you don't have to see the light. You don't even necessarily have to feel it. But it will help soften some of the energies of people around you, and the way that it's softening it, it's doing it through the vibration of Christ energy love. So if you walk through to work and you have people that might be bickering, or you might have some out of harmony, disharmony with people you're working with, or even it's people have called and said, I tried it at the restaurant and the couple next to me were arguing and blah, 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 and I did it, and we walked in, sat down, and by the course of the dinner, so I don't see why I wouldn't give it credit to the Golden Dome. You know, maybe it was just going to happen. So it's a useful energetic tool. It's more useful now because of the time we're living in. So it's an empowering softening of the energies. It will also kind of, if you've ever done like watercolor, you know, just imagine the background gets softer. So if you're super sensitive yourself too, those frequencies won't be on you. It's the love vibration that's going to transmute them.
I love it, and I'm actually very grateful, and this is magic here today, everyone, that we had that slight technical challenge, that we were able to get that Golden Dome, because that's something we can all use as we go about our environments. So many people here are so sensitive to energy. Okay, that was a beautiful gift. Thank you, Archangel Michael, and thank you so much for that. All right, we've got Carol, and Carol E., she's calling from a 727 area code. Carol, what question do you have? I think we've got you on now.
Yeah, I think that's me. Hi, thank you.
Yes. Yes, it's you. What question do you have?
I just wanted to know if you could tell me, have Michael tell me, what I need to do going forward, if there's something that I'm missing or something that I am blocking myself from or whatever.
Well, I'm just going to step in here. Thank you for listening and having a faith in how the process unfolds. But I'd ask you maybe to pick an area. I mean, what area is it that you're thinking about? Is it work?
Okay.
Is it love? Is it what?
Yeah, I would say mostly work.
Okay. So, don't leave me because I want to involve you a little, okay? Couple things. It's very seldom that the angel talks and looks about it and examines a block, right? I mean, I mean,
Okay.
those are words we use or have come to know, and I appreciate you just sharing them, but it's like, why go in and fester a wound? Angels want to heal the thing, right?
Okay.
So we're not going to go in and pick at the block. Where did it come from? We already kind of have a general understanding, maybe, a little bit of, falling out of not of action, not of purpose, not enough this, that, or the other in a certain way, but those are tools. So we're not going to go there and identify the block. I don't even know if it's there. Very seldom do I ever hear Michael say that word. The best he can come up with is toxins have collected. but anyway, even that seems to me better than a visual of a block. But anyway, about your career, maybe focus on one question really to ask him. Do you want to know, should I stay? Should I go? Will I be promoted? I don't love what I do. What would I do next? Pick something, because we're kind of focusing in and limiting our discussions a bit.
Okay.
So
well, it's my business, and it seems that things keep going backwards or sideways on me, and I'm not quite sure why. It's like it looks like everything should manifest, and then all of a sudden it's usually toward the point that it's going to manifest, all of a sudden it falls apart. And I'm, not quite sure how to deal with that. I stay hopeful, I pray a lot, I meditate, I visualize, but it just keeps seeming to happen, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm not... maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Here's what I'd like to share with you. From my own, work with some folks, and Michael will tell you, oftentimes he'll put in a basket. He'll call it your wellness basket, or tools, or like I said earlier, the food's on the table, here's your meal. So affirmations are useful. Alone, they're not going to shift energy. Meditation alone is useful. That alone, in some cases, isn't going to shift things. Prayer alone, we've already talked about, as I hear it from the angel, isn't going to shift some things. A lot of it, again, what he has me talking and teaching about, so don't discard them, but he puts them all in a basket, right? Tools. Not one tool is necessarily more powerful than the other, but as we'll come to discover a little bit, and I'll mention it here, every home space, workspace, that has energy in it. Of course, it always has, but whatever thoughts you make, and whatever thoughts, if you have employees, I don't know if you do or don't, but
no,
whatever thought you're thinking, unless what Michael wants is a restoration of the space where you're living or working, particularly if you're working at home, and you want to be aware that the thoughts that you're having, and if the thoughts are recently or a frustration or lack or what the heck, you want to, you'd be well advised to move to having some of the ascension tools that are appropriate to changing the energy in the space you're working and living in, because it's really all about energy to angels, and maybe other masters of light for that matter too. So be aware that crystal bowl sound can be useful. That's why when we get into the packet a little, Michael wants ascended spaces. He wants your home space and office spaces ascended using a simple, powerful system to shift the energies that have, every time you make a thought, it's an energy, right? And so if your thoughts are in there and they're not, and they're contained, he calls it your home or office containers, like a hot box or a sweat box or a baking oven, I've heard him call it, or, imagine these little pieces of fortune paper floating around like, oh no, why is this, whatever that may be, a toxin, by the way, and I hope I'm still helping you, but a toxin doesn't have to be in your home space or where you're working. It doesn't have to be fighting. It doesn't have to be throwing pots and pans and violence. Toxins are anything that fall on the frequency of lack, frustration. I think you use that word, frustration, don't know, uncertainty, loneliness. There's a toxin, right? So you'd be well advised to be trying to know that it's always wise to shift energies, and this applies to work too, so that whatever energy may be in there that is of those thinking thoughts, they can be refreshed. This is energy of transformation is nothing new in that sense. What is newer, of course, Michael says everything's really old, but what's newer, as he has me talk about, is using crystal bowl sound, harmonic clusters. Harmonics are things that have come into resonance, as he says. There's certain tools that are more powerful now to change your space than before. Sometimes people will say, well, I've smudged my office. Well, I honor that in some way. I've never heard that word sage, smudging, once in the ascension work he has me doing, because some things have more power than others in a way. So without sounding disingenuous. So examining your space itself is going to be wise and useful. Okay?
Wow.
Let's get back to Michael now and also just talk about the energy of your light body, because these toxins here's a statement I'd like to make, and then I'll bring him in for you, okay? For everybody's knowing this. The angel has said this many times before. It amuses me to some degree that human beings change the oil in their car, but they don't refresh their light body. So wow. I hope just think about that for a minute. Like, I totally get that. If you can, you don't have to see your light body, of course, but that's all we are. Energy beings, soul beings, beautiful beings of light, but nevertheless. So just know that there are tools to make that wellness occur. Now, you may not be on your soul theme. Maybe it doesn't bring you joy. I guess I would just ask you before I invoke him, does what you used to do, when you were profitable or whatever, abundant, whatever your terms are to abundance, did you enjoy doing it?
I did enjoy it, yes. I still do.
Okay. So let me just see what else he has to share, okay? Michael, what else would you like to share, please? Okay, he says it's going to rebound. I mean, it's not exactly what you asked, but I am starting to hear. He's saying, if you think of it as like a trampoline that you've jumped on, and there's a down and an up, energy that goes down can be useful, actually. And think about it. If you jump enough, he's saying, you jump down, what happens eventually is the momentum can carry you higher. So I'd like you to think of this or know this kind of down little lip, he's calling it, the downward jump on the trampoline, as temporary in nature. I think over the next 3 to 4 months, that's the way it looks as how it's written here in the chart, I think the energy will propel you higher than you've had before. I would agree that the joy that you still have can be discovered again. I would put most of what's going to cause that, 2 things. First, honor the little dip as best you can. Honor the dip. It's a bit like if the farmer tills the soil over and over and over and over, how much more can the soil be tilled? So I think I'd advise you, if you haven't already done this in Earth time, he's saying there might be a jag, I'd like you to take some time off. Give it a rest. Give it all a rest. Give meditation, affirmation, prayer, all the like. Give it a rest at least for 4 days. At least 4 days, he's saying. 7 would be ideal. That's the down on the trampoline. And then jump at it and see it with new eyes. That might mean change furniture around, change the name, change the way you do something to help these circuits kind of reset themselves, bring some fresh energy. Sometimes he's saying, I tell souls to walk backwards and then forward, to do the same thing. So this little dip, it may seem like it's terribly long and troubling to you, but if you can see it nearing its completion, and if you can see it and know that there's purposefulness, also when energy goes sort of neutral or hollow, okay, think of the trampoline, he's saying. You've got to bounce down, what happens? So it's a restful time that's been presented here in your chart to examine what else, some other things to do. I think you like what you do, but I think now would be the time, in addition, while you're not doing anything with this, I'd like you to make a list of things that you really, really, really would love to do that you've never done. That's what I would add to the tool basket. And then I'd ask you to take action on doing at least one of them in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. I'm still answering your question, I hope, okay? And then I'd ask you to do it. Make the list, take as much time enjoying that process, and then do something new you've not done before. It doesn't matter whether it's work-related or not, but I do feel as though, he says before she cuts me off, that your job when this springing back off the trampoline, he's saying higher. That might mean you have a partner. It might mean you have a new name. It might mean that you come up with sort of a brainstorming idea of a new way to do it in a better way. Those are the types of things that are going to be surging you upward. It's not as though I really see a new direction, but there's expansion that's presented here, okay?
Beautiful.
Expansion.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah.
Wow, that was great. I'll have to think it all through again, but that was a lot of interesting, helpful information. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol.
Well, you're kind, sweetheart. Maybe listen to the replay again,
yes.
and then take action. A lot of times, people can get overwhelmed, and it may not sound like Michael even suggested very much. I mean, I'm the channel, and sometimes I feel like that, too. Sometimes, not often. But he's pretty clear. It's an action world. It's an action world, right?
I agree. And and many times it is. It's about really reconnecting, but it's also for a lot of people, I would think, Kelly, getting that specific next step. It's like if we're lost, it may seem really easy if we're looking at, a map from above. Well, you need to take a left turn at the oak tree. But when we're there and we're trying to figure out, where do we go, that left turn at the oak tree seems so difficult from our perspective.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. It jogged a thought that I had with a client today. Everything's confidential, so I'm not going to, go much. But the point is, Michael was wanted. He said to the woman, joy is lacking in your life, and she probably witnessed it too. So I'd like you to, I'm giving you a homework assignment. I want 1 hour to 6 hours. He said, I'm being a little lenient. Of joy in your life. And he said, I know it's a bit like saying, okay, I want you to go to France and I've never been. Because she said, how do I experience joy? And he said, okay, I've asked you to go to France. How do I pack and prepare? So his answer to that was, and it can be useful to the gal that just called in and all of us, if you need to back up, what his answer was, simple. If you need to back up and discover joy, people know what it is. They may not, joy doesn't have to come in a big package. He said, use your eyes. If nature brings you joy, look at computer pictures of nature.
Yes.
If it brings you joy, we touched on it a little earlier too. If it brings you joy to listen to some music that's soothing, it doesn't matter it doesn't have to be a big, huge statement, but to make some shifts there, he said, it's that important in everyone's life. It needs to be there. Sometimes he'll say to people, your homework assignment is 3 hours a day of joy. You don't have to do it all at one time, but that's how important everything is based upon. If something, that's why I asked her, did it bring her joy? Because if it didn't bring her joy on the scale, Michael, he comes through with waves of things, So the latest wave is the scale of joy from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level. If something isn't bringing a person joy as it registers to the angelic realm as 8, 9, or 10, you transition out of it. It doesn't mean you necessarily stop your business, and, he's pragmatic, I guess is the word. Quite often he'll say, okay, in the practical sense, just know that you're going to be transitioning out of that to something that does bring you joy. That's why I asked her, but she said it did, so.
Very powerful, yeah. Yeah, you could sense that. You could sense when she talked about it how her energy shifted. And, this idea and what we're talking about with energy and really being back into that flow and that place we need to be in, one of the things that was downloaded to you was a star healing system. We haven't even talked about that. Tell me about the 5D healing systems and what you do in that intergalactic energy healing session. Tell me about what is going on there and what happens and how is that different? I guess my big question is, how is that different from the channel?
Okay. I appreciate that. Well, what makes it a fifth-dimensional magnified healing system? The source energy, and the source energy is Palladian. What else does that mean, and how else does Michael say the system is different than so many others? We talk with one another. We share. That's what Ascension is. So I share, my practitioners share, but there's a sharing of what's happening. And it's also a sharing for the people on the receiving end. So if they feel or see something, they share. A silent form of healing is leaving the planet. May not be leaving it quite as quickly as Michael wants, but I'm doing my best. But anyway, the idea of, learning and not standing in a position of someone being a master, that's part of what ascension means. We're all masters, right? We're all moving to the place of, Michael said, the mastery. We're all going to be ascended masters. So, but what else what are some of the things we do in star healing? Everyone is given a number of sacred symbols. I would tell you and teach you how to use them to empower you long after our time together. Some people have what they call miraculous things happen right afterwards. Other times, as Michael says, benefits sift to people over time. It's differently. We're turning your body into or returning it into a more crystalline light body. And crystalline light body, crystalline energy, it means the same thing as fifth dimension, pure love. They all, ascension, they all kind of mean the same thing. So in doing so, we strip away past lives. We actually take away past life soul pieces that do not vibrate on the fifth dimensional plane. There's no point in having them in your body. We strip away etheric fears. We strip away other toxins. People get springs in their feet to help them spring back in life.
Oh, wow.
We definitely go on to extending the love and kindness healing ceremony. That's significant. People are given Archangel Michael's golden halo as a tool to ease their anxiety, because benefits might come to them immediately. They may not, but sacred symbols never dissolve. It's made out of gold. And so that's empowering. And we shape, what else do we do? There's like over 20 energy techniques he showed me in 2010. We use sound. That helps. That sound healing's been around forever. It's not a major part of this system. The major part and the power comes from the Palladians, who can work on every cellular system in the human body. They can rebuild cartilage. They can add oxygen to blood. They can work on long-term, short-term memory, cognitive function, muscles, hormones, blood pressure, enzyme digestion, skin cells, optic nerves, degeneration that's going on with tissues and things of the body. So it's their power largely. That's the source energy. It's called star healing because it's from the star, the Palladian galaxy. So they can and they do all those multiple tasks kind of at one time. They don't have to do like one thing at one time. So because I am, in a way, I would call myself a Palladian. The energy flows through me, and we use these tools that facilitate that healing to take place. We don't touch anybody at any time, so we're not pinching and pushing, shoving and poking. It has multi-tiers, so multi-tiers would be second attunements, more powerful than the first. Michael changes halos. He puts in shapes. We move to gratitude and I am consciousness statements. People are given another healing tool to implement into their life, and so it goes. It is significant in a way that bodily functions, bodily ailments, there's nothing out of reach of potential for being more well. That's done by a combination of providing peace and calming energy. That's what the Palladians provide. So I think we talked about this earlier, where there's peace and calm, you cannot have any illness. You combine it with stripping away. Michael says, tell them we're just cleaning out their closet, and we're looking for the ruby slipper. So we elevate the heart, we elevate the light body, shape-shift DNAs back into the original fifth dimensional form. We even do the system for all the aware children and young adults. In fact, they know it. Michael said they know it like they know their name. So when many of the crystalline children come, the indigo young adults and so on, they tell me things that seem incredible quite often. Some of them time travel. Some of them see constellations. Not just them, adults do. I learn these things because people share them with me. It doesn't mean that you have to see anything to receive the source energy. It is what it is. But in the aspect of sharing, that's part of what ascension means, being an equal.
Yes, and a lot of questions are coming in. A lot of people are saying, what a delight. This came in from Casey. She is so knowledgeable and kind and also funny. Another person says, I am on the phone right now. I'm feeling a lot of energy come in. I'm feeling a lot of goodness come in. I'm feeling my fear disappear. Another person wrote in and said that they are actually feeling the energy of Michael, and they're feeling a lot of insights coming forward. A lot of people still with questions and wondering about many different things. And so what I want to talk about really is any messages for the group. I know our time is going really quick. Does Michael have any messages, again, for the group or any of the people that right now are still struggling? I know there's some opportunities to get some deeper time, some one-on-one time as well, that many people may very well need at this point to really get that next left turn or right turn at the proverbial oak tree. But before we talk about that, what is any other message that may need to come forward?
All right, thank you. Michael, could you guide us, please? Okay, this is what I'm hearing. Here's what he's saying.
Okay.
Be kind to yourselves. Love yourselves. Honor yourselves. Be forgiving of yourselves. Be open to learning more. Work towards to be standing in a place of non-judgment. In fact, if I can digress, Michael, just a moment, one of the teachings in the 2012 book and beyond, Michael says, okay, how important is this to stand without judgment? That's part of enlightenment. That's part of ascension. He said, blindfold yourselves for a day, my friends, and see how you see the world with your eyes closed. It's quite thought-provoking, if nothing else. Michael, okay, thank you. So non-judgment, anything else? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Be of service. Loving oneself first. Love is a frequency that only extends itself for miles and miles and miles and miles and light years and light years and light years. So be loving to yourself. Be loving of others. Invite romantic love into your life. If it's been something that you feel as though it's not in your life, it seems always as like the farthest star that you can never reach for. Grab for the star and bring it into your heart. What else would I say in our time here about what else could we share with each and every one of you? Know that each and every one of you have purpose. Know that each and every one of you is loved by many counsels, seen and unseen. Call on us at any time. Call on us by our names. Call on us individually. Call on us collectively. Call on Kuan Yin if that is your master. Call on Mother Earth if she is one who speaks to you. Call on us. We will be there providing you with insight and information, some of which is grounding, some of which you may never hear, but it's not always a hearing thing. It's a heart thing. Know that you're supported in ways that you may not even in your wildest dreams ever imagine. Know that the day is coming where all peace will be present on your earth. Know that the day is coming that there will be no war. Know that the day is coming that all will be in a place of total love and harmony. This day is now. It's starting now. Yes, there's some work to do. How can you help that? Be of service. Love doesn't know a boundary. In other words, if love is what's lacking, nurture the love by being in the flow. Give more to yourself. Give more to others. Give, be of service. Give. It's a cycle. Give and receive. Give and receive. As you give, you receive. As you give, you receive. Know that all is well until we meet again. Your humble servant.
Wow. Wow. So much wisdom for so many people. A lot of people are writing in. Zoe said, lovely. The energy is opening up. The guidance I'm getting, insights and guidance is popping through. It's popping through, and Zoe is seeing it. A lot of people are feeling it, and a lot of people still have questions. I'll be honest, as I'm reading in, we've opened up a lot of energy about purpose and soul path, and Dee in Orlando said, Darius, great analogy. I am lost at the tree. I don't know where to turn. Where's my next job going to be? How soon can it be here? Is it possible to receive a financial shift? Why have I stopped my financial flow? This is Kelly. A lot of people have these questions. And Kelly, one of the things that I think is pretty exciting that you're opening up for people today is the chance for a live one-on-one 30-minute private channeled angelic session or mediumship session, and that's just one of the things that people are going to get. They're also going to be getting access to many of the technologies and tools that, Michael talked about during the call to change the space and vibration of their home, of their workplace, of the space around them. So this is really a pretty exciting opportunity for people. Let's talk a little bit about those that still have questions. What do you do, and what happens, what does Michael do many times in that 30-minute channeled session?
He just said, we run and hide. There's his joke for the day.
We run and hide.
We run and hide. We run and hide. So if you're asking me to extrapolate a little about, how that works, pretty much like it has worked here. I mean, we can call on other counsel too, but there are times where if you're not an open channel, spiritual guidance is useful. I mean, I hope it's useful. But a person coming to something like that, there isn't anything you can't ask about. Soul theme is useful. Again, no one charts lack. There's tools he'll provide a person with on how to, move through the shift there about, job or whatever it may be. But specific questions are useful. Asking Michael what else I need to know.
Right.
That's generally how it flows, because if he said if they don't ask, you're not told. So that's why I'm kind of framing, with the question too. So he doesn't go on and on and on, basically. I don't know. Am I helping answer the question here that was asked? I mean, there isn't anything that can't be ascertained.
They can't be asked. So whatever questions people have, that's one of the very powerful things about these sessions. I want to share a few things coming in. Let us know kind of what's going on with all of you. I'd love to help you and with Kelly and provide any more insights. This opportunity that you put together, Kelly, for them to really get this private channeled session, that's just one of the things that's going on. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the other pieces here, because we have so many people with their hands raised, over 100-plus people with their hands raised, and hundreds on the line. And I think this can be a really great opening to another way of living and being, to get that message and to get that truth come through. If you have had challenges getting that to come forward, this is at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. It's uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. That's one piece of this. What is the Celestial Tapestries Volume 1? Because that's the next thing that people are going to get if they want to go deeper and get that one-on-one session.
Well, thank you. I listen a lot, and so that's my purpose. My theme is healer teacher. So, there are tools. It's tools, teaching, I hope. So what are some of the things that are in that teaching from Michael?
Yeah.
How to elevate your practice of self-awareness. More teaching about angels, what they really are, and maybe in some cases, maybe in your mind, what they're not. Instruction on how to wield Michael's sword of love and kindness to change any negative situation. It's easy. Anybody can do it. We all have more power probably than we think. So the instruction is not, it's powerful, it's useful. Michael has other tools besides his sword, of course, but it's a lovely, wonderful thing. 8 spiritual laws of the universe. Maybe you think you know them, and you don't, as I hear them, but the importance of superfoods and the role they play in your life. It's kind of a topic that's come up here in the last, year, let's say. Michael weighs in on them.
Wow.
What is, what isn't, so on. And then, practically speaking, how to heal using colors and shapes. So,
wow.
I think he teaches in a practical way to empower people. That's part of what the color and shapes is about. So that's what's in that goodness.
Wow. So Michael actually goes into superfoods and which ones tend to have that energy to really support us, and also using colors and shapes for healing. And that's astounding. I think, wow. So that is spiritual mentoring in these teachings. So that's in addition to the 30-minute channeled session where you one-on-one with Kelly, our guest today, can literally get answers. And there's another item here. There's actually quite a few. I want to go through them because it's fascinating. And this deals with love, tools to attract love in your life, divine messages from Archangel Michael. Why do you think, Kelly, that Archangel Michael wanted to talk about attracting love in your life? Because this sounds like, love in the sense of general love and well-being, but also infinity partners and twin flames and soulmates and this types of idea. There's some inaccuracies there. Tell me about this piece. What came through here, and why do you think Michael wanted people to get this information and vibration?
Well, thank you. It's probably, there are very few soul charts, as I come to hear it, that Michael says, that were written without romantic love in them. He'll say things like, many of the greatest holy masters had romantic love written into their soul chart. So most of us all, with almost very few soul charts, have been written without romantic love in them. Think
really?
About that.
Okay. Oh, wow. Interesting.
So it comes up all the time, so many people are living lonely lives. They just are, and it's not necessarily, you can shift those things. Even, it doesn't matter what age you are. The other thing why did this come about? Because Michael was taking more time, because he is a literal guide. Over the years here, this has kind of been building, this piece right here. But over the years, people would say, when am I going to meet my soulmate? Okay, yes. Well, when am I going to meet my twin flame? Because those things have been around, and, and he'll say, well, but wait, I've got to unteach you first, because he's a literal, that's how the angels, at least, is how I go to work with them. So he might have to say, well, soulmates, by the way, there aren't going to be future those energy combinations, and there's more than those two I mentioned, they're changing. They're changing partly again because this whole idea of fixed soul charts of a fourth dimensional world, let's call our dense population or something, they're thinner. So there aren't as many lessons, and so there aren't going to be a lot of the karmic pattern of heaven to earth. That's where soulmate, twin flames, that's where all of that kind of came from. So Michael came up with this new thing about a year ago, and he said, rather than spend most of my time reteaching you about what a twin flame is, I mean, I get what you're asking me, but because I am a teacher, I'd like you to be clear about this. So they're infinity partners and connectors. He simplifies things. So the teaching talks about what that is, okay? Well, what does being in the same soul family, karmic debt mean? Why it's more important than ever, as it says, to erase limiting beliefs. So it's the human condition, love, right? There are other petals. We talked about them, love of self, love of others, but romantic love, very few soul charts without it written in there.
Yes. Interesting. So we all have some level of love in our charts. Most of us is what we're hearing. So this may be something to really look into. And one thing that Michael talked about, I think it was for Carol, if I remember correctly, ascended spaces. Like, how do you actually support the ease of life by learning to transform your space? And we're not talking about feng shui or smudging, but another system of downloaded energetic techniques, channeled energetic techniques to detoxify your home. And this was given directly to you, Kelly, by Archangel Michael. Tell me about that. And for people that are wondering where this is, or they want to get in really order, in line, so they can get the 30-minute session with Kelly and Archangel Michael, I'm going to give this again. That's one-on-one, and I know these are going to go quickly, and the dates will get pushed out quite a bit. But if you have a question, if you're really wondering where to go next, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you this link. It's at revolution.com/Kelly. Let me make sure I have this right. KELLY 2014. uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, KELLY 2014. So that is where you can start getting in line. Thank you, Marlene, for that interesting channel you had, and many others that are writing in, and a lot of people are getting some guidance just coming in through what we have done here. Muriel said, wow, totally amazing. Thank you so much. I now feel I can move into the flow in my business and personal life. Carol said, thank you so much, Darius, Kelly, and Michael. Amazing guidance. I'm receiving the idea of what it all meant. I will listen to the replay, so if I hear anything further, I will continue to integrate what Michael's message was for me. Wendy in Cape Town says, beautiful guidance and wisdom. Thank you. Lovely confirmation for me on so many things. I had some very strong messages over the last couple days, and all the strong ones were confirmed. A few other people just really wondering, what's my life purpose? Why am I lost? Where do I go next? Is this for me? And so if you have those questions, this is why we've opened this up for many of you. It's at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, KELLY 2014. Now, Kelly, I know I went on for a while there, but I wanted to talk about the sacred spaces, ascended spaces, and what that means and how people can use that in their life.
Okay, thank you. Well, there's two components. The channel guidebook is the PDF. That's where the core learning or the core instruction is. And the MP3 presents some questions that people typically have asked, and so I've answered. So that's how those two pieces go together. But it is, important to be aware or useful. All forms of abundance, the system has been around since 2011, and it's presented so it's simple. That's occasionally I'll hear someone say, I have so much clutter, and then my response, hopefully it sounds kind, would be, but there's all kinds of things you can do before you even get to the clutter. So the frequencies that we're raising through a variety of easy sort of things here, again, are love, abundance, joy, and harmony. And so when Michael talks about it's a system for creating abundance, he means in all of its forms. So if it's all the forms that might come to your mind, if it's money, if love is lacking, if harmony is lacking, if the kids are not getting along, harmony is harmony, okay, joy is joy. So all forms of these things, and it might be surprising to you that one of the things he wants in people's home space is candy. Maybe that'll get everybody to buy. I'm just playing with you now. But how can candy? So it's one of the things. Candy, right, has an energy of its own, whether presumably. So candy represents initially inner innocence. And even if you, because I deal with clients all the time, particularly I learn some history in their intake form because I ask for it, and it's useful to us. But maybe your childhood wasn't in that way innocent, as we would in the ideal holy love vibration. Michael would invite your hearts and minds still to think about, this is not the only thing, by the way, if you're going, oh, candy's going to make me abundant. I'm just picking out one fun thing here, okay? But all these frequencies come together, okay? The imagining, if it had to be, about the innocence of childhood. That's what candy represents. There's beautiful harmonic clusters that Michael's created, and the clusters are created by candles. So if those of you haven't come to Michael's home system yet, those of you probably could testimony and write in and maybe share some of that, because one thing I'd like to make is state here is that, so the instruction is word for word. It reads like a manual. That's how it was heard. And occasionally there are a few questions. That's why the MP3 is there, but generally they're sort of like, can I use a rose quartz crystal instead of a clear quartz crystal? I mean, they're kind of simple in nature. But there's so what makes it powerful, he's using ascension energy principles to create, transform what he calls, again, there's different levels of toxicity, and I would like to take a half a second here. So, again, you don't have to be fighting. You don't have to be quarreling. You don't have to be divorced or divorcing. It's a spectrum of toxin, and sometimes, I know this, of course, over the years here, sometimes people will say, we've just moved in, I love my space, and I can't knuckle everybody into the corner and say, okay, the angel said you got to do this. But if you think about energy the way the angels do, who made the house? What land is it on?
Yes.
Everything is a vibration. So there are very few times, Michael, people let people slide and go, okay, don't use it then. I mean, he didn't put a little asterisk and say, not new houses, not this, that, or the other. So it's really meant to be supportive and healing. Everything is. You have free will. You can make your choosing and choices. But he said, combined with the healing of star healing is powerful of the body. Combine it with healing of your home. You'll have greatest healing benefits. They go hand in hand. That's why my teaching is, that's why sometimes healing systems are not quite as effective, because he said if you go get a healing and you come back home and play in the dirt, he says like a facial. You've gotten your facial and you go play in the dirt again, you're going to need another facial. So space has always been important. Many of you might even have space, healers on the phone. But it's not feng shui, it's not smudging, it's a simple, easy, powerful way to create all forms of abundance.
Wow. And that is all included, and we started talking about not only the 30-minute session, the sacred spaces, which is included, the tools to attract, love, and keep it, the celestial tapestries, talking about healing colors and shapes, spiritual laws of the universe, the importance of superfoods. But there's also something else that's being included here. It's item 5, and that's the 5D healing systems you are going to actually get with this. And Kelly Hampton's just generous offering of love, a 30-minute star healing remote session one-on-one between you and Kelly. And I'm going to go back, Kelly, I want to talk about that in a moment, take a little time. But there's also item 6, which is 2012 and beyond, the truth about this new place we are in. And also item 7, if you have pets or small animals, we are going to be, through this program, Kelly is going to be sharing through Archangel Michael's wisdom, how do you heal small pets and animals? That is also included, and there is also a special bonus, which is really, really interesting, Mount Shasta Wisdom and the Redwood Forest. It is a Q&A teaching on alchemy, and specifically the alchemy of creating the life that you really want to live. So this is very powerful. That's going to be taking place there as well. That is a bonus for people that go forward with this. Now, Kelly, I wanted to ask a quick question. We jumped kind of from I think one of the coolest parts of this, the 5D healing system, people are going to actually get, in addition to the one-on-one reading, they're also going to get this 30-minute remote session that's in item 5. Tell me about that and what it can do for people and why people might come forward to do that.
Well, I'd love to. A couple things procedurally just to set the stage here. What normally happens is either myself or an assistant, if you choose to come to the package, I send kind of a long email explaining, to more about our time together. I'm not sure the form is downloaded here. Maybe you could help me with that, Darius. But there's an intake form that everyone all over the world, every practitioner I've ever trained, they're to be using the same intake form. So the form shouldn't be a hassle to people. You can type what I'm looking for in an email or something. And then we schedule our time. It's either done, again, through myself or my assistant, generally through emailing. You'll get something from me. So we'll schedule a time anywhere in the world. I've helped people largely as a result of being on summits like Darius's all over the world. We would connect via Skype if you're thinking, I can't call her for 30 minutes or so of healing, or it would be an hour if you combined your generally it's 30 reading and 30. So Skype is useful.
Wow.
It's a simple download. and we could walk you through that if you're not accustomed to something like that. But I don't need to see you, so don't stress over the camera. Sometimes that comes through. And no, we just need to hear each other in the sharing aspect. And far again as what happens, well, right before I get to that, for those of you that are listening, if you've had a first attunement or a second or before, it's open because, as Michael says, do some people get miraculous things happen after a session or a partial session? Yes, they do. I can say that. I know. Probably happens more than I even imagine if all the practitioners send all their testimonials. But thousands of people now all over the world have been helped. I don't really like the word healed, but in essence, helped. And so that's the truth of the matter. Anything and everything.
It's very powerful, Kelly, because, I mean, for people to receive so much from you and your channeling and Archangel Michael, just for what is going to be happening, it's astounding. The half-hour session, the star healing, all of the tools, all of it is $99. So a huge opportunity for people. If this is something that calls to you or you just want some guidance and some understanding, it is a really amazing opportunity, and we love to open the doors in any way that it moves you to your next highest place. I mean, we're not going to see these things on TV yet, maybe on Oprah Soul Sunday one day, Kelly, but right now, we love to bring these new ways to really discover your life purpose and move into a higher energy and heal and move and transition the things that are keeping you stuck. This is a 91% discount. It's $1,192 value, and it is $99. There's also a 30-day money-back transformation guarantee, which we do honor, and we care about you. So it is at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. And I want to share what just came in from Anna in East Windsor. She said both the half-hour session and the star healing were so calming and reassuring. It also brought clarity and peacefulness. Kelly is heart-centered and very real. Hearing from Michael and also my dad, who came through this session, so if they're loved ones, they may come through as well, was comforting and joyful, Anna said. And she also said, I'm still receiving the effects from it. I'm getting messages with numbers and letters. I'm seeing flashes of light. I received an answer from the council in a beautiful and humorous way. I received it twice in 14 days. I still have to write Kelly about this. I'm appreciating the playful humor. It just can't help but raise your vibration. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Darius, for having Kelly on again. And I say absolutely, and I'm so glad, Kelly, we were able to let people listen in and get their questions answered. I mean, this was just huge and so powerful.
Oh, that's so very kind.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I want to do this. All of this is here. There's some incredible videos as well from Kelly and from many people that have gone through this. You'll get all of it, and it's a huge value for an hour of really like direct healing help plus so many tools for really a very, very low price and really invaluable in nature. It's at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. Kelly, really quick, I know we're about at time, but who is this for? I mean, for people that are here today wondering, who is this really for?
Well, it's for anyone of any ages, truly. I mean, the Star Healing System can be provided to children as young as 3, up to about 90. The way I'd like to maybe close here real quickly, and that is certainly healing is good for, and teaching is good for all of us, of all cultures, races, and so on. And then the other component that I put in there purposefully, as he asked me to do, is for people that, might be looking for more knowledge about alchemy. And that's what that 2-hour call is going to be about. You want to know how to heal yourself in a global way, heal the planet, get involved. You're a starseed, or maybe you don't know, but you want to get involved, and more knowingness is coming to you. So that's what that call is about. So for budding expanding maybe star seeds, people that want to learn more, dig in and understand what you can do to help raise the planetary ascension. That's put in there sort of on another tier of expression, you might say. But largely anyone that's suffering, that's how it's put together. Anyone that's lacking harmony, abundance, pain in your body, there's really no one that wouldn't be suitable for what he's asked me to share.
And any question goes, anything, and you have 30 minutes, and maybe even longer. They can choose whether they want to go longer based on what they select and their needs. So this is a huge opportunity to get some guidance, and we love doing this at UWealth because so many people are asking for more guidance. They're asking for more of a personal touch, more help, more support and nurturing. And so it's here, and this has been our big theme this year for everybody, is really to move you, because energetically sometimes we need help. We may be going down the wrong trail or the wrong path, or just not really hearing the message clear enough. And the thing I love is exactly what that one person said when they said that, Anna, that after this session they got more clarity, more wisdom, more insight. They opened up a channel, and that's what I want for all of us here. It's such a gift. It's at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. Kelly, thank you for coming back, for being here, for sharing this space, and calling forward Archangel Michael and the wisdom that you bring forward. I know that our audience is just blown away and in such love with what you do and you as a person. I'm seeing tons and tons of comments just to let you know about how much people enjoy your authenticity and humor and just who you are.
Well, thank you so very much. It gives me great, 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 great joy, and I'm very grateful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, this is the session that we wanted to bring to you, and I wanted to really turn it around and make it about all of you and serve all of you in a big way. And I know there are people here that didn't maybe get every question answered, and I know what that's like. And so I want you just to remain in faith if you still have questions. Decide, do I want to get some more help? Do I want to wait and see what comes forward in my life, or wait to see what messages come forward? Re-listen to the call, plug in, trust, and love yourself. Be kind to yourself, because we love you. And no matter where you're at right now, and I know the challenge, I know the gnawing that it can be, in your stomach when you're faced with a decision or things aren't getting better. Just know the guidance will come. And even just listening to this call and being here, that's a form of opening up the guidance. You're doing the right things. You're doing the right things. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. I want to thank you, Kelly. I want to thank everybody else here. Kelly, once again, thank you for being here. Incredible session.
Thank you, and thanks for everyone that took some time to listen.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I want to thank the community for being here and always supporting us. We couldn't do UWealth Revolution without you. We couldn't bring these amazing speakers here and be able to utilize their time and energy. So thank you, and our mission every day is to do more and more. If you want to go deeper, you can find everything at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly 2014. Kelly Hampton is our sponsor today, and we did some incredible readings. We got an incredible technique to help us raise the energy, that shield technique, and much, much more. If you want to go deeper, we've negotiated an incredible package where you can get 30 minutes of the one-on-one help, the private channeled session. You can get the celestial tapestries. You can also get the tools to attract love and the ascended spaces to help purify and detoxify your environment, and a 30-minute 5D healing session. There's a list of all the different things that it has been able to help, and you're going to get much, much more, including how to heal pets and animals. All of this is a huge value, including the special bonus, the Mount Shasta Wisdom. It's over $1,100. It's 91% off. It's $99. 30-day transformation guarantee. We want you to be happy. That's our our goal. That's our singular purpose in our life here today. Much love, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next UWealth Revolution session. You can go deeper with Kelly at uwealthrevolution.com/Kelly, Kelly, 2014.